Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercrest, and welcome back to Let's Play Secret of Evermore. In the last episode, we started exploring Omnitopia for the first time, after we got Tinker Tinderbox's rocket ship fully fitted, with the wheel, the gauge, and the diamond dies. We didn't do a whole lot of exploring, but we did last long enough to save our game in the shopping center. And there are a few things that I need to correct once I start the game. Also, I have a lot of money. That's one of the things that I need to correct. There is the money exchange, and I need to exchange that money. Let's talk to the cleaning robot again. Blue, blue, red. That is the randomly generated alarm code that we're going to be meeting later on. Also, one of these doors always opens and one of these doors always closes, depending on which direction you're going. That's why you have that weird stop going on there. And I forgot about the bazooka ammo as well as the money exchange. I'm going to take care of the exchanging of the money first. Starting off with the talents. When you exchange a talent, you'll get 2 credits for every talent. So let's go ahead and do that, and we got quite a bit of money already. So let's go ahead and exchange even more money. This time we're going to start with the jewels. So let's exchange the jewels, and there's 4 credits for every jewel. So we get even more money from the jewels than we did from the talents. But we have a lot of gold coins, and I want to exchange all those as well. So let's go ahead and go to the money exchange for the gold coins, and we get 8 credits for every gold coin, which is really good. So now we are loaded with money, and we have enough money to take care of everything that we need to deal with. So we can finally get the armor, which I originally said was too much of a bother to get. And we can also go ahead and get some bazooka ammo as well. By the way, there is a glitch where if you have too much money, either the game won't let you get enough money in case of a money pickup from an enemy, which is hard to get, still possible, or the amount of money you have will go back down to 0, and the game acts like you don't have any money at all. So let's go ahead and get the Magnum Mail, the Lightning Helm, and the Cyber Glove and equip all that. I believe you have to have at least 2 million of any certain currency before the game just decides, hey, you don't have any money. Really weird glitch. Don't know why that is. Let's go ahead and sell off our excess armor here. Don't know why I didn't sell off the Defender collar. I'm doing this in post-commentary because Audacity is acting weird for some reason. Maybe it's just me. But by buying the bazooka ammo, we have 3 things we can buy. The Thunderballs, the Particle Bomb, which are more powerful than the Thunderballs, and the Cryoblasts, which are more powerful than the Particle Bombs. There is a glitch with the Particle Bombs and the Cryoblasts. Whenever you fire one, you don't lose a shot. So if I bought 10 Cryoblasts for 1,000 credits, I'll have those 10 Cryoblasts forever, even when I equip them and shoot them. Don't know why the programmers didn't polish that glitch off and get it corrected before the game went to retail all those years ago, but there you go. I know the game has a lot of glitches, but the game is far from unplayable. As a matter of fact, it's really easy to have fun with this game. So anyway, we are now in A2. A1 leads to the junkyard. A2 leads to the shopping center. If we went to the southern exit of the shopping center, we would have ended up in B2. And we would still be in this first section, which contains A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. I actually spent this part of the game checking my map to see where I needed to go, moving the boy around as I did. And I finally came to the conclusion that having the boy and the dog fighting together against the eyes of Rinsala makes them far easier to take down. You definitely want the dog with you whenever you fight these things. Also, I completely forgot to equip the cryoblasts. I still had the Thunderball after all this time. And here's me showing off the glitch with the cryoblasts. So for some reason, whenever you equip the bazooka, it always chooses the Thunderball, the default option. So you have to switch back to whatever ammo you had. But I fired off at least 2 or 3 shots with the cryoblast, and I was still at 10 shots with the cryoblast. And now it was time to deal with the spear bot down here. It's always good to shoot at these things with 100% attacks. You can keep pressing B repeatedly to slowly whittle down its health, but you can still get hit by the spear bot and even knocked around in case there are multiple running ones in the vicinity. So now that we got that done, we have this little porthole that we can go to. You have to position yourself accordingly in order to trigger these little portholes to send you back down underground to whatever it is you're trying to go. Also, I tried to fight off that Eye of Rimsala from a distance, but the best way to do that is to take care of the spear bot first, unfortunately for us. So let's go ahead and take care of the spear bot. I checked the thing just to make sure I was calling it by its proper name, and thankfully I was. And before I leave, I go ahead and take care of the spear bot as well. Again, you can keep pressing B button to attack these things, but you're always better off using 100% shots on the spear bots, so that way you can take them down as clearly as possible. Not clearly as possible, but as quickly as possible. You still have to dodge the lasers if you do that, but it's still quicker. And now we've taken care of that spear bot. Also note that there's a certain area here on B1 that my dog can't move across. You have free reign to move across the entire topside area of the main district maze, and you can shoot down all the spear bots you want. Only place you can't go is beyond the barriers, beyond the edges of the main district. So you can't keep going on forever. But you can go through the entire maze, shoot down all the spear bots, and then you can just clear the entire maze that way. The good thing is, whenever you go underground and back in this maze, the spear bots do not respawn. So because of that, you can shoot these things down once, and you can forget all about it. As long as you don't turn the power off or reset the game. Or leave Omnitopia, which we will be able to do. C1 leads to this little area here with some heating vents, and you want to go right, then up, and then left, so that way you don't accidentally go back into the teleporter like I did earlier. And these little heating coils, or heating vents, or whatever it is that they are, they're very hot to the touch. You can make your way through the first 3 sets, but even with the dog, you can't make it past the 4th. So we're going to have to turn back around and try to shut these things off. To the right here is another chamber, and maybe that leads to something that powers these things? We're going to have to go to C2 to find out. But first we're going to have to take care of the spear bot. Remember, only the dog can go topside due to the lack of I guess you could say, oxygen up there. Is never quite fully explained, but I'm assuming there's really no atmosphere outside of these little chambers and quarters that that the boy and the dog both have to go through. I guess I could say it's you who has to go through them. And because the boy automatically started firing off cryoblast shots, I immediately switched to him so he didn't get into any trouble. And we got our 1,000 credits. Didn't necessarily need to bring the dog back. But it was good to have him nearby all the same. And he would have had to take extra time to get back here anyway when we went to C2 and went down here where there is the machine with a switch. Press B on the switch and you'll turn some of these off. It's kind of hard to tell from the very left side of the screen, the very left edge, but one of those little heating coil things turned off. Now, even though the sphere bots don't respawn, sadly the Eyes of Rumsala do. So you have to be ready to fight them off whenever you get back up here. And we leveled up to level 35, which is pretty good. Don't need to heal. So let's go back to C1. And we'll leave this section for another one. There are 4 sections of the main district maze. We were already in the first one, and when we go down here, we'll be able to enter the second one, and I will mention what the second section consists of shortly. Because not all of these little areas are connected. You will have to do some going up underground and above ground and everything. And here's a pod that's similar to the one we got the bazooka out of at the very beginning of the game. Opening this up gives us Old Reliable. That is part of the second tier armor of Omnitopia, and I believe that is the helmet that is much better than the Lightning Helm. So we definitely want to equip it. Don't necessarily need to buy the first tier armor for Omnitopia, but it still makes sense that you go ahead and get it anyway, just in case something bad happens before you get the second tier armor. Now we are in section 2. Which consists of the entire D row, D1, D2, D3, and D4, as well as C3 and C4. Those are the 6 areas that we can go to in this section here. And of course we have to fight off of Eye of Rumsala before we can really go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and take care of it first before we take care of the spear bot above. And since the dog has taken some... Not the dog, but the boy is taking some damage there. I'll go ahead and automatically heal him. Also, when you go up there, don't automatically hold B, or else you'll go right back down when you go up here. Also, using a level 3 attack against the spear bot is very, very good. You don't have to do any dodging ever, because one attack of that magnitude will definitely destroy it. And as you can see, the boy can't enter those little portholes, but the dog can. Also, you can see here, there are some passages, some horizontal, some vertical, that do lead to dead ends. So you want to be very careful of where you go, and be mindful of where you go, and know where you're at and where you're going. Anyway, D3, I believe that leads to the control room of the main district. And as soon as we go in here, we'll fight off some floating fans. These things have a lot of HP, and it's best to fight all 4 of them before you go to any of these terminals. Now that we've done that, we've gotten a little bit of experience, and I might as well go ahead and talk about all the terminals. Alarm code is right there, the first thing we see. And we also have these 2 things to the left. I was going to input the alarm code, but one, I kind of forgot what it was, even though I know now it was blue, blue, red. And two, I decided, you know what? If we don't turn off the alarm, we have to fight some guard bots. I might as well go ahead and get some experience that way. Also, that dog is sniffing up a storm. To the left here is some lighting. This lights up the greenhouse. The lights are off by default. Here's the storage room lighting. I go ahead and turn them on. But when I turn on the storage room lights, I turn off the greenhouse lighting. I go ahead and turn them off. And the reason I want them off is because I know that I would have to go through the greenhouse in order to get through there in one piece. But then I realized I wanted to go to the storage room. I think if you go through the storage room in the dark, you trip up an alarm and you fight even more deadly baddies. But I wasn't sure if you guys were going to be able to see the footage if I did that. So I ended up turning it off. Turning them on. Also, that lock screen there, that is for an optional boss. You have to insert a random passcode, and you're not told what it is in the game. You just have to go through all the color combinations in order to open it up. And when you put in a certain passcode, whatever it may be, you will automatically open that up, and you will be able to fight Faceman, which is the truly optional boss of the game. Even more optional than the Verminator, which is only optional because of a glitch. Faceman is truly optional, but even then he's a pretty easy enemy to beat, even though I never fought him as a kid. Also, I pretty much forgot what the alarm code was. So I ended up not putting in the alarm code as I made my way through this area. D4, I believe, leads to the storage room. I go ahead and take down the spear bot here. And I believe that I end up going back to the control room in order to change my mind. It's been a while since I recorded this, and I'm doing post-commentary, because for some reason Audacity acted up near the end, and I'm not sure why that was. And apparently I did. So I did go back here, turned on the storage room lights, and then headed on to D4, because that's where the storage room is. So now we got the storage lights on. It's time to head back to D4, take on this Eye of Ramzala again. Try not to get hit a whole lot as we take care of this thing. Receive our 1,000 credits, and then finally make our way into the storage room. Not a lot of enemies to fight. You fight a lot of floating fans and a bunch of cleaning robots. They don't really hurt you. Nevertheless, they're there for the experience. So you might as well just go ahead and get them out of the way with the bazooka. Also, there are red and green Thrax heads. Don't know if these things are man-made or robots or grown biologically somehow by man, but they're there. And this pod contains the Protector Ring, which is a step up from the Cyber Glove. So let's go ahead and equip that. You also get 30 particle bombs, which I will never use. Also, there is a glitch with the chests that don't give you an item that triggers the fanfare if you ever open them up. You'll get the item, but the message saying what you got doesn't pop up, regardless of whether you're able to get the item or not. you don't even get the message saying you can't carry any more of this item. Also in here are 30 Thunderballs, which of course I will never use ever again, because I have the Cryoblast and that weapon is glitched up. And this one just keeps opening and closing on its own, not even giving me a message. I believe that one contains some honey. I believe that may probably contain some ingredients. It doesn't really say, because we don't get the message saying what we got or what we can't carry any more of until we go back into the teleporter leading back to the main district on the other side of the room. Like I said before, the game has a bunch of glitches in it, some of which I wish were corrected before the game made its way to retail. But again, the game is far from unplayable, and it's still a very pleasurable experience if you're looking for a good late-era Super Nintendo RPG. And it's when I trigger the ring that I start getting the messages. Don't know why. Kinda weird. So anyway, it's now time to head to the C section of this section of the maze here. So let's go ahead and take care of the sphere bot. And then we can go up. You have to be like right on a certain part of these little doorways leading underground in order to get down here, and I don't know why. But here's the alarm room at C4. Because I didn't turn the alarm off with the alarm code, I have to face 8 guard bots, 2 at a time. All the while, this very annoying alarm sound plays. And thanks to our new armor, we're not taking as much damage from these guard bots, but I'm still going to go ahead and fight them nonetheless. Definitely need a little bit of extra experience. So we got 2 guard bots down, and now we're taking care of 2 more guard bots. Just stay on the move, anticipate where they're gonna go. They'll eventually try to aim for you. Sometimes they'll just stand in place and you can take advantage of that. Just make sure that when they're standing still, you're lined up with them to hit them with the bazooka, whatever it is you're gonna hit them with. I definitely suggest the bazooka at this point in time. It's just definitely going to be the most powerful tool, most powerful weapon that you have. And here are the last 2 guard bots. It's not like the raptor battle at the beginning of the game, where the last 2 get more powerful. No, they're the same as the other guard bots. And when you beat all 8 guard bots, you do get a little fanfare and you raise your weapon up in victory. Now, regardless of whether you turn the alarm on or not, you'll get this pod that you can open. And if you open it up, you will get the titanium vest. A step up from the Magna Mail that we got in the shopping district. Let's take a look at our stats. As you can see, we got a lot of protection from enemies. Also, apparently we're still fighting with a Thunderball the entire time. I don't know why. I thought I had the Cryoblast equipped. Well, no, we did fight him off with the Thunderball. But nevertheless, we took care of the guard bots, and we are now at B4. We are in the 3rd section of this maze. All we have to do is go from B4 to B3, and we're out of here. That's pretty much it. I did check my map to see where I was. So I was kind of learning this on the fly because I did not do any practice runs with this game. I played this game quite a bit as a kid, beat it a couple times. Hadn't played through it in years though, but I did watch a few Let's Plays from Brick Road and H.C. Bailey prior to getting ready for this Let's Play. Especially H.C. Bailey, because I knew he would have basically as much stuff about the game covered as possible. And here's me trying to fight off one of these things again, on my own. Thankfully, I'm able to do a lot more damage with the Cryoblast, assuming I can actually get aimed properly with the Eye of Rimsala. And we should be able to get one more hit on this thing. There we go. Now we can head on down to B3. This leads to the greenhouse. And I do check to see if there were any more places to go, but then I realized, wait a minute, I left the storage room lights on. The greenhouse lights are going to be on, because the greenhouse and the storage room lights, they're both lit up at the same time. They share the same lighting. So if you turn one on, the other one turns on. If you turn one off, the other one turns off. So we had to make our way all the way back to the control room. And sadly we had to deal with an Eye of Rimsala, but thankfully I had the dog with me in tow this time around. And the boy finally reached level 36. Really easy place to get levels. This area is. I managed to get 2 for the boy in this one video. And when we beat the alarm room guard bots, we do get what the code was the entire time. So thankfully the game tells you. So now we have to turn the greenhouse lighting off, though I could have just turned off either one. Because you turn one off, the other one turns off. They're both connected. So I don't know why I didn't just go for the first lighting terminal that I saw, and I was thinking, gee, is this one the storage room or the greenhouse? It doesn't matter. You turn one off, you turn the other off. So now that we are back at C4, we can go back here. Don't know what I hit there, but I must have hit something. And now that we've taken care of the guard bots and the alarm room code is initiated, we don't have to deal with the guard bots ever again. We can come and go as much as we like through the alarm room. And now we're going to have to go ahead and deal with another Eye of Rimsala. Now that we're done with that thing, we can finally go to B3, and we can finally go through the greenhouse. Now, if you had the lights on, you would have had to deal with an enemy known as Flowering Death. It's basically like the Wimpy Flowers or the Coniflowers, except they're the most powerful normal enemy in the game. If you get hit once by those things, it's instant death. It's 999 damage, regardless of what your level is, how strong you are, what armor you're wearing, everything. There are a few mosquitoes you can probably fight here if you go to certain parts of the maze, but thankfully I knew where it was I was going. And by making our way to the end here, we get 30 Cryoblast particles. I don't know if you can target the Flowering Death either with the targeting option or with your spells. I've tried it before, it's never really worked. I just recommend going through the greenhouse with the lights off, so that way you don't have to deal with it anymore. And now we're in the final section of the maze. This leads from A3, which is the greenhouse exit, to A4, which leads to Professor Ruffleburg's lab. A4 is the main place you want to go, because that's where you'll finally be able to talk to Professor Ruffleburg and see if you can find a way back home. Let's take a look at our stats here. As you can see, We are quite the tank. So is the dog, who apparently has 637 defense. We have improved a lot since we first started playing the game. It's amazing. Now it's time to finagle with the B button and position yourselves correctly, so that way we can automatically walk up to Professor Ruffleburg and talk to this guy. This is the man who has created all that we see here, this campy, cheesy, 50s sci-fi-ish world. And he is very delighted to see us. This was back when everything sci-fi had like a social justice parable lesson to teach, and it was before the days of Star Wars where you didn't have to teach like a social lesson or teach how to be human or have a moral at the end. You could do it for the sake of having fun, just like with medieval fantasy. Star Wars kind of opened the door for that, but back then, before the days of Star Wars, everything was a social parable. Not that I find anything wrong with that, mind you. But anyway, Professor Ruffleburg has been watching our progress and tells us that we have the same spirit that inspired him to create Omnitopia. But that was many years ago. 30 years ago, in fact. Before all this stuff that has happened took place. Everything is now out of whack, and Carltron is on the loose. We finally learn about Carltron for the first time. And the boy figures out who it is. It was the guy who showed us the door when we first entered this world. Carltron is Professor Ruffleburg's automated servant, who was constructed to do the household chores. Clean the house, greet guests, pay the bills, let the cat out, clean the gutters, all that stuff. He gave him enough AI to make him a really good chess player. But that AI led to Carltron apparently having free will, and he decided to turn the tables and take over. He sabotaged the Evermore experiment and left everyone stranded here. And then he finally made his move to take control of all the lands. But thankfully we have stopped him at every turn. And now we look at the machine that took us to Evermore. When Carltron took over, he used it to threaten everyone involved in the experiment. We have learned the full capabilities of Carltron and what he can do. But nevertheless, he was still able to threaten to destroy the planet if he didn't get robot clones of everyone ruling the 3 lands below. With these 3 robot clones, Carltron could take over the world, but we've stopped him time and time again, and he is now retreated to a chamber in the center of Omnitopia, no doubt trying to create another evil plan, and probably to get rid of us once and for all. Ruffleburg says that if we are able to take down Carltron once and for all, we will finally be able to make our way back home. And if Carltron can be controlled, we can all go home. Not just us, but also Elizabeth, Horace, Camellia, and even the Professor himself. So we finally have a means of getting back home. But we have to beat Carltron and get in this chamber. There's a special item that we need, the energy core at the base of the chessboard that we saw on our way to the Dark Forest. If we can get this thing, we can finally use it to power up the teleporter in the junkyard and then finally reach Carltron and take him on once and for all. Professor Ruffleburg triggers the switch, which opens up the staircase in the chessboard maze in Gothica, and we finally have a path to the energy core. As the dog chases after the cat momentarily, we learn about the escape pod in the next room. Same room where we fought the Garbots at the very beginning. We can finally use the escape pod that crash-landed when we went to Prehistoria. We also get a new alchemy formula known as Call-Up, which is 1 part meteorite and 1 part dry ice. This lets you create call beads of your own free will. And there are only a few meteorites and a few pieces of dry ice in the game. And unless you have a game enhancement device like Action Replay or something like that, once you use up all the meteorites and dry ice pieces in the game, that's it. You can't get any more. I'm not going to use Call-Up. I have more than enough call beads to get through the game, and I never really use call beads anyway, even though the spells for them are really good. But the alchemy spell is there if you want it. And I want to use the space for other spells. You also get the Professor's call bead abilities as well. And we get a chance to save our game, which is what we're going to do now. So, now that we are in the Professor's lab, we can now plot our next move. And that is to go back to Evermore. Join me next time where I go back to Evermore and get the energy core. Until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!